Good morning. Welcome to this virtual open day of the Master in Insurance and Risk Management Program, 26th edition. My name is Antonietta Barone. I am the program manager. Today, we would like to offer you the possibility to collect all information and details about the different aspects of the program. So about admission process, funding opportunities, career opportunities, and much more. Before giving the floor to my colleagues for the presentation, I would like to introduce, first of all, Cristiana, who is attending remotely. She is an alumnus, so she attended MIRM last year. So good morning, Cristiana. Welcome to the webinar. And Tommaso, who is here in presence, and he is a current student of the program. So since we want this presentation to be as interactive as possible, I invite both Tommaso and Cristiana to join in the conversation, in the presentation, in any part, providing any comment they would like to, and also speaking about their experience. So now I give the floor to the director of the program, Professor Federica Seganti.
Thank you, Antonietta, and thank you to Cristiana and Tommaso to be here to join us for this presentation. My goal, first of all, is try to explain you what is and who we are, MIB School of Management, and give you some brief information about the master. About our school is a no-profit consortium born in 1988, thanks to the collaboration between the academy and the companies, in particular the universities of our region and a very important company, international company in Italy and abroad. The aim of the companies and the university is provide executive and postgraduate education in an international environment, according to the New Deal after in the last 10 years of the last century. Some numbers about our school. We have roughly 3,800 alumni around the world. More or less 1/3 are MIRM alumni, and we have represented in the last years more than 100 countries, and roughly 55% of our students coming from abroad, and there are, of course, international students. International for us is not only international students, have international experiences, is an international faculty. We have a core faculty plus a visiting faculty with a very important, impressive international experiences in the field, of course, of general management, but in particular in insurance techniques and risk management and in management of the financial service company and insurance. About our master program, the Master in Insurance and Risk Management, as you can see in the next slide here, we are accredited by ASCOR, that is the Italian accreditation system, and EFMD, that is the European accreditation system, and are very important to evaluate the quality of a master program. If you have to decide which master to attend, one important thing is the quality and how the community evaluate the master program. That means have good accreditation, and as we can see after, have a good international ranking. It's not enough to have a good curriculum or just a good professor. Is the reputation is very important to assess the return of a master program. Going into more details, but very shortly, the duration of our master program is 1 year if you choose the full-time option, and is 2 years if you choose the part-time option. In this case, you can identify a path, a track, according to your business activities or your capability to follow the master program. And it's a very customized path that you can define thanks to the collaboration, of course, of Maria Antonietta Barone and me, the staff of the master program. The language, of course, is English. The master program starts next 1st October, and you can choose between 2 different formula. That the formula are quite flexible. I mean, there is the attendance on the campus, or you can switch online. Of course, there are 2 different formula. On campus give you the possibility to do not only a master program, but also a life experience. But in any case, the technologies that we have put in place in our campus are very sophisticated, and even if you attend online, the capability to be involved in the day-by-day activities is very high. Where, of course, in Trieste, some teaching methods, let me switch to teaching methods. The teaching methods are very active, and of course we have a mix between a professor coming from academy, consultant, testimonials, coming from the real business life, and the match between theory and applications is the key of success of our teaching method. We organize group working, we discuss case studies, we run business game, we have a lot of speakers, and we organize some international study tour to meet very high top managers, and to have the opportunity to implement the networking activities that is not only inside the school, not only with the alumni around the world, but also with the companies, and not only with the testimonial coming in our school, but going to inside the company and meet the managers and the top managers. Other thing that I can add, of course, I can speak a lot more. Just the last slide, as I said before, is very important, the international ranking. Of course, accreditation are important because accreditation is the quality assessment given by the accreditation system, like in other industries. And like is done for a lot of companies. The ranking is very important. The ranking is the evaluation given by a large number of stakeholders that, like we can see inside the slide, and our master program ranking 2022 is 3 in the world, of course, inside the field of insurance and risk manager. We are very proud of this result that is not only a result of our school, but thanks also to our alumni, our sponsor company, our testimonial visiting professor, a community, the MIB community that is very strong in terms of competence, in terms of willingness of sharing knowledge, experiences, and a lot of things. I stop here because I have to stay in 10 minutes. And I give back the floor to MIB School of Management, to Barbara, and of course Antonietta. And I don't know if Cristiana and Tommaso would like to add something. Thank you so much.
Tommaso, would you like to go first?
Oh, okay, thank you very much. Well, I'd say that mostly the most interesting part, especially as a student, is what Ms. Eganti said, is about internationality. So actually this is something which is actually really felt into the class, and also the approach to the subject. Of course, some subjects are much more quantitative, so you need to study more, but on average, the interactivity is really high. And I would say that I was kind of surprised during the year, because after all the lectures and all the subjects and whatever we studied, the interesting part came at the very end, when you have a lot of guest speaker and from several companies. And now we just came back from Milan study tour, and I can say that actually what Ms. Eganti said is really part of the experience. And I would say that she touched all the, at least for me, the most important point that I also somehow linked during my experience. So this is this is what I can add, actually.
Thank you, Tommaso. Maybe Cristiana to add something to this.
I will, with pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's very nice to be here. I remember when I was sitting with my father attending the MIB Open Day. So it makes me a little bit emotional. And I'm sure that the students or potential students considering studying at MIB will understand why it makes me emotional after this session. So I think the points that Prof. Eganti mentioned are all extremely important and relevant. I have a few general points that I can add. So for starters, I think that I would highly recommend doing and studying at MIB. Why? Because the accreditation, the certificate that you receive at the end of the program is high quality. It opens a world of a professional network that I wouldn't have otherwise. And you come out of this a more well-rounded individual. There are hard skills, but there's a lot of personal development throughout the program. And so, I mean, when companies are considering hiring the students, especially if they know MIB, they know that they are getting someone with a quality degree that is able to work in a multicultural environment, that is self-aware, and that has had big exposure to quality lecturers. I chose to study full-time and in person because I wanted the full experience of living in Trieste, which is a beautiful city. And of course, the classes happen in Palazzo Ferdinandeo, which is a beautiful building. And And to do it in 1 year, that suited my development needs at that point in time, but really it is a subjective experience or choice. If I'm speaking too much, please stop me, but I could go on forever about the school. So the application process, you submit a letter of motivation, you submit your CV, your resume, you have an online interview with Ms. Barone and Ms. Vidotto, and then there are 2 tests where they test your financial literacy. I also, prior to being accepted, visited the school in person, which I would highly recommend because it helped me to be able to see myself attending the school. And my father and I were blown away by the state-of-the-art technology. There are microphones hanging from the ceiling. There's a huge TV screen where you are able to see and interact with your online colleagues. And so it really is a well-integrated and a structured program for those who wish to attend online. I got accepted with a 40% scholarship, which was amazing. So I must have done something right. And I was surprised because what I would like to say is that you don't need to be a financial or a mathematical genius to study at MIB, specifically the MIRM degree. I definitely wasn't. My undergrad degree is in marketing management. And of course, it helps to be a genius in maths and science. But and if you don't, I had to work harder than my mathematical colleagues. And it is challenging, but it is possible. The faculty, the staff are phenomenal, willing to help you, and really want you to succeed. So if you don't have a mathematical brain like me, you will get there. It is possible. You can do it. And every second of work that you put into it is well worth it. Time management is very important, and prioritization is a skill that you learn throughout this degree, and it is a skill that will stay with you and benefit you for the rest of your life. I'm sure the MIB faculty will speak to the structure of the courses, but I have to say that it is one extremely valuable skill that you get out of this. Maybe I'll stop here. I've given a bit of an introduction and just hand over to MIB, and then I will add more as we go.
Thank you very much, Cristiana. I think you already touched some of the topics that we will go through for the next slides. Thank you for giving your point of view immediately from this stage. So as Cristiana was saying as well, she was speaking about the application process. By the way, let me first introduce myself. I'm Barbara Vidotto. Probably we've met during the selection process with a few of you, or we will hopefully meet in the following months and weeks. I'm in charge together with Maria Antonietta for the admission process to the program. And once you're in the school, I will be working with you on the career service and orientation part. So let's go back to the application part. As Cristiana was saying, once you've decided that what we're offering is what you're looking for, it's time for you to fill in the application form that you can find on our website. Immediately after receiving your application, we will be able to give you a first feedback, which means if you're eligible to take part to the selection process, we will ask you to send us the documentation needed to follow up your application, such as your diploma and the list of exams, an ID copy of your document, ID document. We will take together the motivational interview together with me and Maria Antonietta. The aim of this interview is basically to better know each other. We usually go through the motivations towards the program. We need to have motivated people because, as Cristiana was saying, and I think that Tommaso can agree on this, even though you're not a genius in mathematics or finance, what we look for is to have people motivated to learn and to put yourself into this new experience. Once the interview is done, you are asked to take 2 tests, and then you will wait for our final feedback. We are usually quite fast in the whole process. So in maximum 10 days from when you send the application, we will be able to share the final feedback. Final feedback is hopefully an admission letter in which you find usually all the information about the enrollment conditions and the economic conditions. As per the economic conditions, we are happy to have the possibility to support our students in the admission process and in taking part to our program, thanks to the support of our main sponsor companies such as Allianz and Assicurazioni Generali, who are offering 4 full scholarships for the coming MIRM 26th edition. We have one offered by Allianz Italia, 2 from Assicurazioni Generali, and 1 from Fondazione Gasbarre Alleanza Assicurazioni, which is part of Assicurazioni Generali Group. You will find all the information about the announcement of these specific full scholarships. Together with the full tuition fee, we have the possibility as well to award partial tuition waivers, such as Cristiano was saying, the range is up to 70%. Of course, the scholarship is awarded on a merit basis, so going through the whole application, the feedback of the motivational interview, the results of the test, and all the documentation, our admission board is able to agree on an economic proposal that you will be offered. I will leave all the details on the screen, but please visit our website for more specific information on the full tuition waivers and the partial ones. Just note that even though you forget to include the specific scholarship you're willing to take part to, during the motivational interview, we automatically consider each application for the tuition waivers. Next slide, please. Now, I don't know if maybe Antonietta, you want to add something on the admission process or since we are both in charge of this.
Yes, I would like to add that the admission process, let's say, is completely free.
Mm-hmm.
So you have no obligation. I mean that if you take part of the admission process, so you take the test, you meet us for the motivational interview and receive a financial offer that unfortunately you cannot accept, there is no problem because you don't have to pay any fee till that moment. So apply and have your chance to be admitted.
Right, thank you, Antonietta. Going to the academic, moving from the academic part to the business environment, we have listed few of our sponsor and partner companies. A few of them we already managed to speak about because they are as well financing the school, as well EY, but you can see on this screen as well some companies which are involved in the school activities, which are open to host our students for internship programs or offering job positions. As Tommaso was saying last week, we were in Milan visiting AXA, Price, Assicurazioni Generali, and Eni, for example. Maybe then we can give some information about our study tours as well. Maria Antonietta maybe can speak about this later on. Basically, the career service aim is to support our students in getting to the job market. The MIRM class is a diverse group of people. We have fresh graduates, but as well professionals there. So it's important to have a very personalized approach, which means that we work together on some plenary sessions and workshops aimed at giving you the tools to be able to move on the job market, to be there on the job market, which means that starting from the really beginning of the program, we work together on creating an effective resume, on an effective cover letter. We understand how to better face a job interview through simulations. And we speak as well about the recruitment process in general, both from the candidate perspective, but as well from the company perspective. This usually takes place from October till February, more or less. Then from February on, we create the opportunities for our students to use these tools, which means that we invite top managers of our sponsor and partner companies here at school. We organize seminars, once again, the study tours, which aim is to get to the placement opportunities that we do collect at 6 months from the graduation. So I'm glad to share that the group of Cristiana have performed very well. So your classmates were very good in taking the opportunities offered by the company, and we have more than 90% of the graduates of 2023 currently working and basically doing what they wanted to do. Involved in the insurance and financial institutions, industries with different roles which are in line with the program they have attended. Just a few pictures to highlight that we do not do everything just in the building at MIRM, but we do move outside. So we visit companies in the very close to the school, such as Illy Caffè, Fincantieri. But once again, we move as well outside in Milan and in London. And maybe Antonietta, if you want to say something more about the study tours.
Yes, the London study tour is another interesting experience. And usually we go to the city, so the financial district of London, and we visit some important companies such as Lloyd's of London, the Bank of England this year, the company where Cristiana is currently working. It's an insurance broker. Everest Re, a reinsurance company, always located in the city, and Marsh, which is, as Barbara said, is one of the partner companies for which we run a corporate master in Italy. And always they offer us a very interesting opportunity to go to their marvelous premises with a view on the Tower of London and on the London Bridge. So at the same time, the study tour is not only company visits, but it's also an opportunity to meet with our London chapter. So the community of our former students who live and work in London. So an interesting also chance also to improve a personal network.
If I'm not wrong, Tommaso, you have been to Milan and you were going to join the London study tour, is it correct?
Yeah, exactly. I've been to Milan. We came back, actually we finished the study tour on Friday, last Friday, and then we came back this weekend. And I will go to London. So I would say we went to the company that Barbara said, or Maria Antonietta, I don't remember, NPWC, Assicurazioni Generali, and AXA. And as I said, actually is something very interesting, first of all, because you have the chance to see the place where you could work, which is actually, I think, on a daily basis, something interesting. You want to see the environment first. And so this is a very good chance we have. And another thing is that also, I think in the way the school approached the companies, the people who present usually their company actually are very open, very friendly, and at the same time very professional. So you really have the chance to improve your networking. I can say this just because I just came back. So I mean, also Cristiana probably could confirm it. Actually, it's not just like a visit. It's like, okay, let's know each other, which is something really useful. I can't say anything from London because still have...
Surprise.
Yeah.
Maybe Cristiana, you can tell us something more about your experience in London last year.
So on top of what Tommaso has said, I would first of all really encourage students to attend these study tours because it's a professional networking opportunity, but also you're creating memories with your classmates, and it's the opportunity to visit 2 different cities and visit leading companies in the financial sector. I think it doesn't have to be expensive. What my classmates and I did on the tours last year was book a B&B, a bed and breakfast, or a really cheap hotel that we all paid for, and we split the costs. So it doesn't have to be expensive. And if you do need a visa to visit, especially London, I would say to try and apply for that early, because You don't want all of your classmates going on the tours and you unable to go because you don't have a visa. So that's just one thing to bear in mind. But when I was in London last year, I was interviewed for the job that I currently have now. So if you need proof, I am living proof that it is worthwhile to attend these tours.
Thank you, Christiana. And maybe speaking about costs of London, we can speak a bit more about the city of Trieste, so where we will hopefully meet in the following months. I think the best way to speak about the city is to leave it to the students who stayed here. Tommaso, you might have some more information about the city, which is very close to you as well. And then we will ask Christiana as well how it was to move from South Africa to Trieste.
Also because Tommaso is from Trieste.
Yeah, actually, yes. Well, of course, Trieste, I don't know if you've ever been, because maybe some people from the Balkan area came to Trieste in the past. Well, actually, Trieste is a very interesting city because of its history, because of the people. If you haven't been to Italy, it's nothing compared to Italy. I think it's very different from Italy. And I would say that it's really it has by nature an international environment, because I can say for myself, I grew up with Serbian people, Croatian people, Albanian people, whatever, because it has always been this type of environment. So, and I always thought it was very nice and very interesting. And why say that? Because somehow probably the school got the heritage from Trieste in terms of internationality. It's super big. The regatta you can see behind there. So this I don't know how to say it, the Barcolana regatta, yes, is I would say the main event is the largest in the world, and it's very nice. So as you can see, we have the sea. We like to go to the sea. We like to go to the beach. But at the same time, you have the chance to go wherever you want, from Croatia to Austria to Slovenia and to the rest of Italy. So also it's a good bridge if you want to visit a bit around Italy and around the area. To say that, if you have any questions, I think it's easier for me to answer instead of presenting, because I wasn't ready to talk about Trieste. I just say what I think now.
Of course. I may add just a piece of information. Trieste is now Ryanair hub as well. So you have the possibility to visit European cities very easily, just moving maybe for the weekend. And it's a very good occasion. Trieste is located at northern east part of Italy. And as Tommaso was saying, it's a peculiar city if you compare it to the other Italian one. But maybe we can have the approach from an international student. How welcoming was Trieste, Christiana, for you?
Trieste was the most magnificent place I have ever been to, and I have traveled a lot, but Trieste holds a very special place in my heart. And I think what makes it so great, especially for students, is that it is small, right? Especially for international students, it's small. So you are not overwhelmed. It's not a terrifying city to be in. And I would recommend, if you are looking to attend the in-person degree, is that to live in the city is probably the best idea. I remember Ms. Barone recommended that I live in the city when I was moving to Trieste. And what I mean by the city is the city center. Trieste is small. It was a 15 to 20-minute bus ride from where I was staying, which wasn't very far away from, if you look at the third photo down to the right is where I was sort of staying. Very easy to get to the school. And it's also important because, believe it or not, you don't only attend classes, you actually do have time to go for dinners with your friends and explore the city. So that usually happens in the city center. And there's a lot to do. We traveled to Ljubljana, which is in Slovenia. We traveled to Pirano, which is in Slovenia. We were able to drive to Milano for the Milan study tour. So very easy to travel and visit places outside of Trieste as well. And apparently
Venice. It's not far from Venice as well.
Not far from Venice as well, and which I would highly recommend visiting too. And apparently it's, Tommaso, you can correct me if I am wrong, but I think it is one of the cheapest cities in northern Italy for students, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, actually, I'm not an expert. I can give you some data, and I think it's somehow is probably changing, good for the city. But I would say yes, of course it's affordable. If compared to other cities like Milan, for example, is completely different. And also if you, I don't know if where you come from in general, where people come from, of course, if you come from big cities like capital city, I don't know, I think about Belgrade, London. We have some people from Bogota, in Colombia, or I don't know, from Sao Paulo, Brazil. I think of course it's different. So I think also that the expensive part is based on what you on where you come from, but I'd say it's absolutely affordable in terms of costs. So I agree with you.
Yes, you can see we have decided to summarize some of the costs that you could face while staying and living in Trieste, of course, depending on your standards. Basically, the school and will support especially international students in finding an accommodation here in Trieste. And you have to consider a monthly total starting from 500 to 600 euro per month, covering lodging and traveling expenses as well. We have a public transportation, very good public transportation in Trieste. As Cristiano was saying, it's not a big city, so you really can move to one part to the other one in 20 minutes, half an hour by bus. I can add as well that it's a quite a safe city, once again, compared to other big cities in Italy and in Europe in general. So we all agree that Trieste is the right place for you to study. Okay, so I think that we have done with our presentation, the formal and official one. We are now at your disposal to answer to any of your questions, doubts. We still have, of course, Tommaso, Cristiana, and Professor Seganti here with us, together with me and Maria Antonietta. So please, if you have any question, use the chat or raise your hand. We will be glad to answer to any.
In the meantime, if I may ask Tommaso, maybe it's interesting for a prospective student to know how much studying should he or she expect out of contact hours, I mean, when you're home.
Yeah, I think it's really different. I am in the team on the side of Cristiana, so I don't have a very strong quantitative background. I mean, probably she has much more than me because I studied international relations in Venice. So actually, I would say that my last mathematic exam was when I was in high school. But actually, when I worked a couple of years in a financial institution where I had to deal with numbers, so somehow I was familiar mostly with the product, not on how they were made. To say what? To say that, of course, if you are a person who don't have a very strong quantitative background, you need a bit more time to study. And this is to be very fair and honest. Once you finish school, sometimes you also have to stay to study like 1 hour, an hour and a half, 2 hours per day, based on the exam, based on the period. Because some periods, for example, the very last period was much more on qualitative stuff. And I was much more familiar, for example, and other people were much more in difficulty. So I would say that in terms of hours, it's of course, it is requested for you to study, and I think is also fair, because otherwise you don't choose. It is about also how is serious the program, and I can say that the program is very serious. So I would say that in terms of effort, it really depends on what your abilities are. And for me, for example, was somehow hard. Some exams were very hard, but I can say that I always managed at the very end, hoping that Maria Antonietta can confirm it, because I'm still waiting a couple of grades. But yeah, you can manage. The good thing is that the more you do, the more you get. this is the good thing. It's not that you have a wall in front of you and you cannot overcome it. So this is really positive for me. So it is, you have to study, yes, but you can also enjoy time doing actually, and work on yourself and doing things you like.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tommaso.
I would also say, if I can add, the beauty about how diverse the class is that because you have students from a variety of different backgrounds, we all can help each other. So if my mathematics classmate was helping me in the more actuarial science subjects, I would help him in marketing, for example. So you work like this with your classmates, and I think it is important to, we did a lot of group work, we had a lot of group study sessions, which really helped, and I would strongly encourage this. In addition, the lectures are recorded, so you are able to go back and re-watch the lectures, which really helped me, particularly for the more challenging subjects. And as I said, the staff are really willing to help you and want you to succeed.
If I can add only on this study part, I would say that really what I didn't expect is that somehow when you are like under pressure because you have a lot of exams, as Cristiana said, you start studying in group, and you can see that you can overcome the exam or the problem you're dealing with through the group. So actually, for me, for example, of course, I told you I wasn't that quantitative guy. But studying group, everything changed, and I managed only through this, I would say. If I had to do it by myself, I probably wasn't able, I would have been able to do that. It's okay.
Thank you. So we have some few questions. I will address them to Antonietta. So could you please share more information on the hybrid format?
Yes, the hybrid format that Cristiana was referring to just a few minutes ago is a possibility to attend classes in presence and online. This means that there is the possibility to switch from one mode to the other according to personal commitments or personal needs, provided that in general tests are to be taken at school if a student is, as let's say, decided to take the program in presence. This, of course, is possible because our classroom has been recently, a couple of years ago, has been equipped technologically so that it is possible also for students attending remotely to be actively part of the conversation with the lecturers and also with colleagues who sit in the classroom.
Thank you. Always related to the attendance mode, what about the part-time program? How often are courses per week? Do we have the chance to join speeches or networking events as well?
So the part-time mode is an opportunity that we offer especially for those persons who wish to continue their work activity during the program. So a part-time mode means that the 60 credits and the list, let's say, of courses which the program consists of are split over a period of 24 months. So over a period of 2 academic years. And so we, as also Professor Seganti was saying before, we customize a little bit the study plan of the part-time students, adjusting the study plan to their professional and personal commitments.
Always about the part-time program, our students attending the part-time formula do have current jobs while attending the program?
Yes, as I said, it is possible, of course, with a certain, say, need for time management, because, of course, part-time students who have selected a certain list of courses in the first year and then the other part in the second year are required to attend those courses, those classes at the same time as the full-time students, so during the working week.
Right, and thank you. You were answering as well to another question, which was about the schedule. So are there sessions recorded or scheduled live sessions? So we have already gone through this.
Yeah.
There is a question about Trieste. So where in Trieste would you recommend to live, and what places would you recommend to visit? Also, how cold does it get in winter in Trieste, and what type of clothes do you generally use? So maybe we can ask Christiana to answer to the first part of the question about where to stay and what to visit, and then Tommaso, you can maybe tell something more about the weather in Trieste.
Okay, so I think to just repeat again is that I would recommend to live in the city center. This is because around the city center, there are bars and restaurants to visit with your classmates when you are not behind your desk and studying. Trieste also has a lot of history. It's a city of a lot of history, and so there are various sites dotted around the city that you can visit. For example, the Miramare Castle is a very good idea. They have beautiful gardens there. And there are various other venues which I could recommend. I'm happy to, if you reach out to me on LinkedIn or anything, I'm happy to give you my recommendations. There's also, I was living right next to the sea and I like to run. So in the evenings or in the mornings, I would go for a run along the Molo or the promenade next to this ocean, which was very nice. So that's something else to do. But happy to chat further if you would like more recommendations.
And what about the weather, Tommaso?
Well, the weather is again up to where you come from. I'd say that we have hot summer and cold winters, but especially in the last years, winter is not that cold. We have actually a lot of wind, but we are a sea city, so it's kind of normal. I know that in Italy it's famous for the wind, Trieste, so we have a lot of wind. I don't know, if you expect it to some degrees, I would say that you never go below 0. It's always around those 5-10 degrees during the winter, and then in summer it's quite hot. I would say around 30-35. It can be possible, maximum, of course.
But it's always quite breezy.
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, we're a sea city.
Yeah, good point.
Exactly.
You can have a go, take a swim if you're hot, right?
Absolutely, you can. Yeah, the sea. So
good. Once again, going back to the part-time option. Okay, no, this we answered already. So Theodore is asking, hello, thank you for the presentation. Can you describe a day living and studying at MIRM? Once again, I leave the floor to our testimonials. So maybe we can start with Christiana and then with Tommaso. A typical day at MIRM last year for you, Christiana.
Okay, a typical day. So I'm an early riser, so I would wake up early, and depending on how early, I would maybe start my day with a coffee and pre-reading for one of the lectures, because sometimes you have that, just some preparation work for the lecture ahead. I would then make my breakfast. I would catch the bus. As I said, it was a 15 to 20-minute commute to the school. And then typically classes start at 9:15 in the morning. And on an early day, we'd finish at 4:15. Otherwise, we'd finish at 6:15. So in the morning session, you can expect to have 1 to 2 subjects in the morning and 1 to 2 subjects in the afternoon, depending on how the day is split. But there is usually the first morning session with a little coffee break, and there's a very nice cafeteria downstairs. We spent a lot of money in that cafeteria. And then you would go back to the class for the second session of the morning. You'd then break for lunch in the cafeteria again, and then the first afternoon session would start, another coffee, and then you go back for the second afternoon session. And then either depending on what you had, if you scheduled some group work, you could stay behind at the school and work with your classmates there, or you could go home. Again, I would catch the bus back home. I would usually, I'm from South Africa, we eat dinner very early. So I would go home, have dinner straight away, and then probably put in a good amount of work after dinner. You can expect early mornings and late nights and working on the weekends. Not all the time, but obviously when it is required, and it will be sometimes to do that, that's a typical day. And if we were feeling very relaxed, probably too relaxed, sometimes we would go for an aperitivo, which is just a drink before we all went home to finish or do our homework, let's say. But that was a typical day for me.
Does it look like the same for you, Tommaso?
I think it's the same. I simply don't wake up that early. I wake up, I cook my lunch, and then I come here. No, we don't start at 9:15 anymore. We start at 9. So from 9 to 1, we have lecture. We have the coffee break at 11 in the nice cafeteria, as you said. And then we have lunch, and then we go back to class from 2 to 6 usually. Sometimes we finish earlier at 4, that's true. And as you said, after that, sometimes in some periods you have to study, and you can choose wherever you study. You can study here at the MIRM Palace, Ferdinando Palace, or you can go home and study. Personally, I always really appreciated aperitivo. So whenever we have the chance, if you spend the whole time together, it's quite often that someone says, okay, let's go for a drink. And so you go for a drink. So actually it's a really intense year. To say that you have to study, to enjoy the time with friends and with people from other countries. Maybe you don't sleep that much, but it's okay.
Thank you. Anna is asking if students are moving with the family and how difficult it is to find an apartment. Maybe Antonietta, you can answer.
It is not that common that our participants come with their families to Trieste, because most of them are fresh graduates. But it happened in the past, I mean. So it's something that there's no particular problem with this. With regards to the accommodation, there are many opportunities in town because it's a university city, Trieste. So there are many students coming during summer and beginning of autumn to start their university path or to continue their university path. And at the same time, there are also some research centers in town, such as the physics center located in Miramare, and also the science park. So many researchers coming from all over the world come to Trieste, and so they also usually find a suitable accommodation. So it is not difficult at all.
Okay, so we still have a few minutes to answer to the last question, which is about the possibility of attending events and speeches, even if you are an online participant.
Yes, I think that this is offered to all our participants, provided that that specific event is broadcast, is streamed on the web, let's say. Not all of them are, but most of them are. Of course, as Cristiana was saying, it is better if it's possible to come to school to attend specific events, having also some top managers who are the guest speakers on several occasions.
What about holidays and breaks during the program? Do international students have time to return home for a few days?
Yes, especially during the winter break, starting around the 20th of December until the 7th of January. So the period of our Christmas holidays, let's say. And apart from that, a few days around Easter. So from Friday before Easter till Tuesday or Wednesday after Easter.
Good.
And sorry, if I can add,
Yes, sure.
There was a point in, I think it was April, where I needed to go back to South Africa, which is a 10-hour flight away. So it is quite a trip to go to South Africa and then come back to Trieste. But because you even though I was studying in person, you can attend online if you need to. It allowed me the flexibility to go home while I needed to. And then for 3 days or whatever it was, I was allowed to or able to attend online
Yes.
while I was over there. So that really, really helped me.
So I think we are on time. We have concluded this interesting session. We really thank you for joining the session and being online and interactive till the end. From my side, thank you to Cristiana Tommaso for being with us. Thank you, Federica, for being available as well to answer to the questions, and to Maria Antonietta.
Thank you to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Feel free to add
Thank
us
you.
on LinkedIn if you need it for any question or whatever.
Good. Hope to
And
see
me
you
too.
very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.